All right, welcome to the public transit worker. Yeah, I think that's good. No feedback.
Stark is here.
Okay, let me get here. So welcome everybody. Thank you for those of you who are on Facebook. Yes, sir, Brother Eric. Yeah, take a seat. Take a seat. So this is our public transit worker and rider town hall. We've had many of these. Last one was in collaboration with the Fix the CTA campaign, the Chicago DSA. We want to thank. Yeah, the phone's not going to pick up the audio for anybody. Okay, we can't use the speaker. All right. All right. Maybe turn it down a little bit.
Yep.
Let's try that. So we'll try not to be too loud, and hopefully on the Facebook y'all can hear us. We will be doing brief introductions. All right, but when I mean by brief, I'd like each panelist to say their name. I'll come around with the camera, because like I said, the audio is not going to pick up without this speaker. All you got to do is say your name, what your job is, and if you're not a CTA or PACE, public transit worker, just say you're a rider. And then one thing you would like to see changed in public transportation in the city. So that's it. So we're going to just go right around. Your name, where you work, your job title, and if you are retired, you just say, I'm a retired operator, for example. And then one thing you would like to see changed. And if you weren't retired and you were quit or were fired, unjustly fired, make sure you say that too, because we got a lot of unjustly fired CTA PACE workers. Okay, so there we go. We're kind of winging it here. All right. Brother Eric, I'm a mechanic, Carmen, rail car repairer. One thing I would like to see changed at the CTA is paid sick leave for all the CTA workers. And we'll start. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My name is Kathy Strulecki. Oh.
That'll be our talking stick.
I'm an old person, you know. I'm a retired CTA, a retired switchman. And what I would like to see, the riders and the CTA workers unite and be aware that we have the power to make some changes. For example, we need to build a movement where we can fight for these full-time jobs for everyone, fight for a better contract for the CTA workers with a living wage and full-time jobs for all. And we should push that idea for other workers as well, not just CTA workers, but for all working people. We need a living wage, we need pensions, we need health care, and also we need to believe that we could build a movement to where we can protect each other so that we don't have to rely on the police. I want to see people realize that calling the police, relying on the police, is going to result in people's deaths, not in a reduction in crime.
And we're gonna make sure we cut just one thing. But thank you. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it.
Chris, I'm a car repairer at 98th Street, about 13 years, and I think as we're bringing riders and transit workers together, is that we have no voice. They just they added board members to the board and changed the name that oversees the CTA board, yet there's no union representation, there's no worker representation, and there's no rider representation. And I think that's not an accident. The lawyers want to run this freaking thing into the ground. Okay.
All right.
My name is Bernard Branch. I'm a retired rail repair, and I had like 28 years of service. And I think what's necessary is actually for a fighting labor movement, and that requires a new leadership. That it makes no sense to try to push the present pro-democratic party labor leadership. That what we need is revolutionary class level leadership of the labor movement to fight.
Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Zach. I'm a writer. One thing I would like to see change is I would like to see bathrooms at every major CTA station.
All right.
Hi everyone, my name is Tom. I'm a writer. I'm probably on the CK at least once a day. And I would definitely like to see the conductor come back on the L train. I think people feel a lot safer.
Oh, yeah.
out there.
That's right.
Hello there, my name is Eric, and I'm a writer, and I also would like to see improved safety conditions, something to make us feel that we can be there without having to worry about what's going on.
Thank you.
My name is Bobby, I'm also a writer, and I agree with this too. I think we need to have more than one person on the train. It just doesn't make sense from the safety, from the working conditions, or anything else. It's inhuman to put all that on one person, and I would like to see bathrooms in our station.
I'm Joe, I'm a writer. Just generally more safety, and I really like the idea of conductors coming back.
All right.
Hello, my name is Al Thomas. I'm a CTA retiree, and what I would like to see is all my CTA brothers and sisters, the active people and the retirees, get their money back from the Retirees Health Care Trust.
Yes.
Nobody voted on that.
Yeah, that's right.
Nobody, even the union people, a union steward, when my paycheck was short, I'm like, hey, wait a minute.
Where did it go?
How come my money's short? I got 80 hours. And there's RHCT thing at the top. I said, hey, brother, explain to me what this is.
Nobody
And he
can.
says, Al, he says, I don't know what that is.
And it's to the
What's the
riders.
wrong answer? Because the correct answer would have been, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to check and find out.
Al, please tell us your job that you had when you retired. What were you doing?
I was fixing buses.
That's right,
I was
mechanic.
the bay inspector mechanic. The last location was 103rd Street Garage.
All right.
And hey, it was, I like learning how to fix things.
Thank you.
So that's it.
Thank you.
For
Thank
letting
you.
me blab a bit.
Thank you. Thank you.
The microphone.
I'm in agreement with that brother about the retiree healthcare trust that started eating up people's paychecks like it was 1981, like in a Pac-Man game or something. And walking like all your checks gone, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, my name is Eric Struck. I'm a former member of ATU Local 241 before I was unjustly fired for protected union activity.
Yep.
I'm a member of Freedom Road Socialist Organization, and the thing that I'd like to see happen is I want to see both 241 and 308 be democratized, and the only way that that's going to happen is if we get a few people elected in those two locals, and if we support the Chicago Transit Justice Coalition, because they do an excellent work.
Thank you, Eric.
Hello, my name is Andre Thompson. I'm a retired bus operator out of 103rd and also a former executive board for Local 241 ATU for 2 years. What I would like to see is reform from the membership. They need to understand that they're being blocked from being educated and organized by the current leadership. And if the membership take fully control of the union and get educated, a lot of this corruption that currently exists will go away, and they'll have better working conditions and better contracts and better involvement, because the union must be a fighting union, not a controlled dictator type union that the current administration holds from both local over the membership head.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robert Thomas. I'm an unjustly fired CTA bus operator at 103rd Street Garage. And what I would like to see is reform in CTA management and reform in the unions that are supposed to represent the workers. Our unions have been turned into personality cults instead of unions. What unions are supposed to do, support and help all workers. They pick and choose which workers they want to help. If you're not in their clique, your grievance will never see the light of day. So we have to throw these tyrants and dictators out of office. They just care about the money, the 6 figures that they make in a year. They don't care about helping. Thank you.
All right. So we have our introductions, and everything you said here can be said again if you feel like it. So we're going to have various topics that I'm going to bring up, and each of you can address it. I would like everyone to equally have a say. So if we're going to actually bring up a point and go through everybody, just like we did here. If you don't have anything to say, you just say, I have no comment on that, and then pass it on. It's okay. Because I know some of us may not understand or be familiar with some of the issues, but I think everybody will. Okay, so first topic is safety. What does that mean to you? CTA worker, CTA rider, or public transit worker, public transit rider, safety. What does that mean to you? You're going to have 2 minutes. Can I have a volunteer timekeeper? Because my multitasking is really messing up this morning. Okay, so Brother Andre is going to be our timekeeper. You're going to get 2 minutes, and you don't have to use the whole 2 minutes. Okay? We're going to go down the line. Safety. Can we start with you, Kathy, or do you want me to go the other way around?
No, we can start with
Okay.
and I'll try to be brief.
Well, I just wanted to give you, because I think I know what you're going to say, and I really want you to be able to encapsulate it perfectly in that 2 minutes. So you ready?
Yes.
Safety. What does that mean to you?
Well, we can't ignore that safety does mean people don't want to be assaulted as passengers or as workers. So that's part of what safety is. But the other part of what safety is just having security in our lives, with our housing, with our cars, with our children, with our ability to pay our bills, with our pensions being intact or having a pension. So I would just like to raise the issue with people to think about how safe can we really be under capitalism? I don't think we can, especially in this day and age with all the things that are happening. So we have to look at the big picture of where the country is going, where the global economy is going, and where people's minds are going. Safety means building a movement of working class people, an anti-racist, multiracial, militant movement.
Okay. I guess I'm pretty simple, and I'm thinking of the thing that we have in common is most of that. Those trains, those buses that we operate and ride is so critical right now as far as getting that to a safer, just like it was during the Democratic Convention, okay? Whatever money you took there, that's your budget. That's what you spend. That's how you keep things safe. You don't do that by just saying, we're underfunded and all this stuff. But one thing I learned studying safety specifically, getting a certificate in it, is that CTA is not going to do anything for us. They're not going to do simply anything. And our union leadership is waiting for them to hand them the solution for safety. We don't need to include them at all. because they're gonna give us the bare minimum that they can possibly get away with by law. And that means the shops and out there as operators and whatnot, we're the only ones that can change this. The riders are gonna tell us a lot of stuff that maybe we don't know, and maybe we could tell the riders stuff that we know that we can push forward.
Quite a while ago, the CTA introduced one-man operation in rail. And and it was a big thing. I remember I spoke against it, a bunch of other people spoke against it on the basis of people talking about safety. That was a safety violation. A blatant safety violation for financial expediency of the company and the city. But the response was, well, that's just the way it was. It's that way in Boston. It's going to be that way. There's nothing you can do about it. But that's tied to how the union can fight and lead the fight for safety concretely. A strike over safety was something that the populace in general would have supported. It would have been in the interest of the union membership as well as the riding public. But that was not done, and the leadership accepted it because, again, their political connections to the Daily Machine at the time, but it didn't matter. It was Harold Washington before, and other people after. That was something that opportunity that was missed, and the union actually became weaker because it didn't fight around that really clear issue that would have garnered plenty of public support.
Yeah, so it seems like the entire conversation around safety in the CTA is sort of has like two extremes that at least in my opinion, political discussion. It's either one, to dismiss the idea that there's any kind of safety issue. You're not in danger of being on the CTA, don't worry about it. Or on the other hand, it's to say you are in danger, let's flood it with CPD. And I think both are pretty terrible ideas. I used to live next to Howard Station, way up north, and it's like one of the more notorious stations. And I would send my wife there every morning, sometimes at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I was very scary, and a lot of stuff happened there. And there's clearly a problem, but we don't have to put a bunch of CPD on trains and buses. We can solve two problems at once: hire more people in the CTA, get two-man crews on the cars, maybe put an extra person on the bus. There's inventive ways to do this without just over-investing in CPD.
Well, you just said so much. Again, I think a lot of safety goes back to having enough people on the train. I think people feel a lot more secure. They could sit in a car with somebody, or they could connect with somebody. Yeah, it's all about having more workers. I look at, even though I'm a writer, I look at things from a worker's perspective too. So the more people, the safer we'll be.
Absolutely. It seems like, we're all in agreement that we definitely need more people, needing workers and just the passengers in general to feel more prepared and more comfortable being here. Whereas one person is trying to manage a train full of people who just disrupt the train flow. Whereas I was there in 2020 during the lockdown. I was allowed to ride the trains, and I saw how they gradually became just filthier, just full of people who were just causing issues the entire time. And yeah, the increase in CPD, the mass hiring, it does nothing because they sit there and watch. So having some actual surveillance on the trains to actually help out people and just make the ride what it used to be, even so.
I agree with so much that was said, and I was going to say that I think that involving community and even school groups, in figuring out plans and participating would be meaningful. But Bernard, right?
Yes.
Okay, I really want to go back to what you said, because I think the teachers union has shown, bargaining for the public good, where workers show that what's good for the, workers is good for the community, and the union is fighting for the working class, would be a real way to win on some of these issues.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm just gonna make I agree with the good points everybody's making. So I'm gonna be very brief on this one, because I think a lot of it too can just come down to the general public. Maybe not the way it affects the rapid transit, but for the drivers, if we can get the general public to be a little bit more respectful, and please put down your cell phones when you're driving. I think that would make a big difference. Thank you.
Just real briefly, the S word is used in a very cynical manner by CTA management, you know, and if you're an operator, if you're on the train operation side, in order to save your own ass, you learn to use that S word in a way that can exonerate you in situations. But don't get that confused with CTA management actually caring about safety, because they don't.
I think that the safety need to be improved greatly at the CTA. I think the workers need to feel safe. A lot of workers at the CTA don't feel safe, and if the workers can feel safe, the public can feel safe. I think that both riders and workers are in danger working at the CTA and riding the CTA. I think it needs to be a better communication for the workers to get help or to alleviate any crimes that's going on. There needs to be more deterrence, better deterrence to keep people from doing crimes on the CTA, and the police is not the answer. I think more visibility by the employees is important. More uniformed employees with better communication will help alleviate safety.
Yeah, what I would like to say about safety is the workers don't feel safe coming to work because of the management and the riders. So they immediately in stress when they come to work. Management is on their neck, and they know if they're not in the clique with the union, they're not going to get saved if they get disciplined. So it's an all-around lose-lose for the employees at CTA driving the buses and operating the trains. There needs to be a zero tolerance for smoking, for doing drugs, doing any. There should be a zero tolerance for that on the trains. It wasn't happening before COVID, and it shouldn't be happening now. We need, like Andre said, we need more employees on the train. We need more visibility. And the CTA does not care about safety for the workers. As much as PR Nora gets on social media news and all these meetings and puts her makeup on, lipstick and all that stuff, they do not care about safety. Just a number. If you're taken out, die on the job, they're going to replace you within seconds or within minutes for somebody else to do your job. So we have to get back to family. We got to get back to community, looking out for each other. And the union is not the answer. They're not helping with that either. Thank you.
Just bring one point. Did anyone? Yeah, just another point. And that is, if you really want to make things really unsafe for the employees and the riding public, is have some goddamn cops on the goddamn property. Okay? That's something also that is not in the interest of the employees or the riding public.
All right, so I'll take a turn. So you get the camera, Robert. You be the camera operator and set my 2-minute time limit, because I want to tell you what I think safety is at the CTA. Safety is I can go to work knowing if I get sick at work or hurt at work, I'm not going to be punished. Safety is if I'm sick or my child is sick, I can call off work and not be punished or fired. Safety at the CTA for me is 2-person crews, full-time jobs, brick and mortar bathrooms, proper tools and equipment. That's safety to me. And right now, What we are told safety is, it's a write-up, a 2-year mark on your work record for anything that the goddamn CTA mismanagement wants to hit you with. I'm sorry. And I will turn that mic off, but I will put that mic away. But this, to me, is safety, all right? Now, we are going to transition to the next part of the discussion, and that is, what is one solution? One solution. Because I want to leave this meeting with a serious agenda for safety from everybody. One solution for one problem, or a multitude of problems it could be, but one solution, one concrete solution to improve safety in public transportation. And I will start with that. Sorry, because I'm just like, it's at my mind. I want to get it out and then let everybody go. And number one, stop running the trains all day and all night like it's rush hour. You're inviting crime and vagrancy. You're inviting trouble. When you have 8-car and 6-car trains running all day and all night, and then you complain about people sleeping on it and living on it and pooping on it and peeing on it. Well, what do you expect people to do? It's there. Don't blame these homeless people or these people self-medicating. Don't blame us because we can't clean the damn thing. Cut the consists down to 4 cars. Even 2 cars we had when I was little. And then you have 2-person crews. Don't just cut the consists. You got to cut the consists and maintain staffing levels, including the servicers that are necessary to clean those trains. That's sort of more than one thing. But cut the consists. That's what I want for mine. Okay? So now we're going to go to Kathy.
Okay.
All right. And
Okay, well, I have more than one thing to
okay.
I'll follow suit.
All right, so we got time limit then. So we'll just do, it's okay. It's 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes.
Okay.
Whatever you want.
Okay, so I agree. We should go back to 2-person crews on buses and trains. That would make people, and it would be safer on the buses and trains, and it would also give more people jobs, and that would help a lot. And we should have all full-time jobs, because people need full-time jobs with living wages. People don't need part-time jobs with bullshit wages. And with the full-time jobs, we need to force the CTA to contribute more to the pension. The CTA and the state of Illinois contribute more to our pension.
Well, I think adding other additional people everywhere, including in the shop, there's been a big push to separate. If there's 4 trains in the shop, traditionally we'd have a partner. We'd work on one repair, one truck, one train with a fault at a time. Now they want, if there's 4 trains in the shop, 4 people are assigned to 4 different pieces of work. So it's everywhere, and I just want to go along with the additional employees in all departments. And then also, kind of what I said earlier, to maybe have that we do the risk assessment, okay? Figures lie, liars figure all day long. That's what I watched the board meetings over the weekend. And it's all bullshit. I mean, you can't tell me anything got safer, any smoke got less because of their little coordinated with the CPD tickets that they wrote. What did that do? These kids can't afford to pay them tickets, and they're not going to pay them tickets. But there's issues like that we can come together and we can do our own risk assessment and say, well, maybe that train's line's worse than the Brown line. Maybe we need 3 people standing on that train, 1 in each car, whatever it may be, without looking at it as a budget issue.
Yeah, I think what needs to be fought for is more service. More service. It kind of came up a little bit during the lockdown, when their answer was cut shit back, and just rely on the special, the workers, what they call it, what's that term? The people who, the essential workers. Look, everything needs to be maintained. People need to go to work, and if it meant working at a distance, so be it. Make the company pay, not the employees, through layoffs. Okay, that's what has to. We have to look at not cutting service because we're worried about cleaning. The fact that you have people living on the trains is not the fault of the union, it's the fault of the government. Because the government represents, the bosses, okay, who don't give a damn, okay? So that's how we have to look at basically when they say right, we say left, okay? We have a different perspective. We argue differently than what they do. Their expediency is death and layoffs and oppression, okay? So that's how we have to look at these things. So I disagree with the sentiment that to cut car service down at night, that can all be worked out.
No, consist, not service.
Yeah, but it should be worked out.
You don't need 8-car trains at midnight. That's all I was saying.
But what it should be done, whatever is necessary, should be done under the control of the union.
20 seconds.
Yeah, I think CK should hire more people, especially more full-time bus drivers. I think that if you want to accomplish anything, whether it's making the buses and trains faster, show up more, or increasing safety or whatever, like you can't do it by just overworking the current people who are there. You have to hire more people.
Recently, I saw in the paper that fares only account for 20% of the budget. The rest is subsidized. And that makes it even more important that we don't let this current administration threaten us and get away with it. Because, as we know, without a good budget, nothing's possible.
Yeah, absolutely increasing crew size and just better regulation. And I've been thinking this entire time, if it's illegal to drive distracted, why are we expecting people to man these giant trains full of hundreds of people by themselves, fully distracted? It simply makes no sense. So yeah, having more crew there, adding more to just support what we need.
So could you elaborate a little more on what you mean by that? So you're talking about the operator being distracted. You're saying the operator distracted by too much going on.
Absolutely.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So they're manning this car, also trying to monitor everyone coming
Yeah.
in and off the train.
Yes.
Doing all this by themselves.
Yes.
That simply makes no sense.
Yeah. Thank you.
Can't improve on that. Thank you very much.
Just a note, sort of on the method that we're using here to determine what we do and what we don't do. I got a helpful suggestion. We're already kind of doing this a little bit because, the Justice Coalition has reached out to riders organizations, and it's crucially important that we get input from people that actually ride CTA every day. But one of the methods of deciding what to prioritize and what direction we're going to go in this sort of work is we can take a page from the method that was used to determine these things in the Chinese Revolution, which is the mass line. And basically, I'm just going to go with a quick quote from Al here about how he actually concretely organized these things. It's from the masses to the masses. So he said, in all the practical work of our party, all correct leadership is necessarily from the masses to the masses. That means take the ideas of the masses, which are scattered unsystematic ideas, and concretize them through study, turn them into concentrated systematic ideas, then go to the masses and propagate and explain these ideas until the masses embrace them as their own, hold fast to them and translate them into action, and test the correctness of these ideas in action. So if we go to the ridership and we see what they need, then that should inform the way we craft our program.
I say more uniform employees on the CTA will help with that issue. And I also say, for us with the train two-person crews and with the bus, I feel like if more uniform employees such as supervisors and managers make safety checks on a regular basis instead of monitoring the employees for discipline, that would be a big help to the drivers. Better communication system to get help for the drivers, like faster or more prompt. If managers are not far, like instead of in the office doing discipline, and they can be out on the streets checking for safety, they won't be far away. And the supervisors are already on the street, they can check for safety instead of checking for discipline or time and all that stuff with the drivers to get them written up. So that's my take.
Yeah, that's good.
I love that idea that Andre said, get them damn managers out of the office and on the street and make sure that the service is safe and the workers are safe. I love that idea. And I love the idea of bringing the conductors back. That's a simple fix. And stop being so damn cheap. Hire more workers. Get rid of these sometimes useless teenagers that are security guards that are unarmed, they don't have a radio, that don't have any way to communicate with the police. They have to use a cell phone to call the police. They have no arresting power. They're unarmed. Get rid of these crappy security contracts that's just throwing millions of dollars down the drain. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, just a quick thing I want to add. Because of what Eric said and what Andre said, it got me thinking. We need to take a stand, maybe. Well, not maybe. I want us to take a stand against calling more for police. Some written thing, and we need to say it a lot, like that meeting that got advertised for March 3rd, some politician is having it, about the blue line. We need to take a stand against more police because it seems to me, I could be wrong, but it seems to me that most people want the police. Most people, that's what we see, or what most people see, that's the solution, get more police. That's going to help us feel safer. So we have to be able to address that, and that ties in with that, from the masses to the masses. And it made me think about, too, what about the Black Panthers? They did the breakfast and schools and other stuff. I bet you they did safety things in the community, and those Deacons for Defense, they were doing safety aspects. When was that, in the 60s or before? But so we could aim to organize something like that. I know it sounds like something way far away, but if we never start to organize for it, we'll never get it. And the last thing is that what Andre said about getting supervisors out there reminded me of when I was a conductor in the 1980s. There was a troublesome person on the train, probably a mentally ill person or a drunk person, and I called control. And instead of calling the police, they called supervisor because it was just faster. And it was a young guy who had a lot of muscles, and the troublesome person left right away. And I think that happened a couple times with different supervisors. So.
Yep.
So, yeah, and when we say supervisors, for those who are not familiar with the Chicago Transit Authority, these are not management per se. They are actually union, and they are kind of like foremen or monitors, but not bosses. Although some of them try to act like bosses.
They think they're bosses.
Right, they think they are, but they're not. And they wear a nice uniform with a badge on the hat, and it tends to make people who might be causing trouble to just move somewhere else or leave. So we have a number of great ideas that I wrote down, and we'll make sure we publish these into a single document, because this is the beginning of something that I think is going to continue. And I know certainly if I win president of Local 308, this type of thing will be accelerated. Yes, Andre?
And maybe maybe we could take some of those ideas that you have or writing down to the meeting with a politician, because at the end of the day, they don't know, and so we can tell them what we know, and maybe they'll listen, maybe, but we'll just tell the truth.
Thank you. So this is going really good, and the time is going by at a great pace. So we're going to go to the next question. It was recently announced it was actually revealed in a Chicago Tribune article by Talia Soglin. In her interview with the CTA acting president. Now, she's been acting for a couple of years now. I think she needs a Grammy or something, she's very popular with the riders and the workers, and she goes around and visits the shops and the garages and the terminals. Shops, terminals, garages.
Not our show.
Not 98 shops.
No hugs for 98.
No hugs for 98. You're passing out hugs and coffee and candy and trinkets. But still, we have no paid sick leave. I don't know, but the managers do. Anyways, so in this article, she interviews acting President Learson. And that just makes me laugh, because I keep seeing this picture of her with this sweater, and it says acting President Nora Learson. I'm not joking, she really has that. So I don't know if maybe she's making a statement to Mayor Johnson and the board and the CTA, but that she wants the job. But anyways, so it was revealed in this article that the CTA has put a line item in their budget for this year for $1.6 million for shelter beds. And the reporter, Soglin, I'm paraphrasing, says, is that really something that the Transit Authority needs to be dealing with, housing the homeless, or providing funds for the homeless to be housed? This is not shelter beds, at least from what I understood. This is not shelter beds at the terminals and the stations and the trains. Rather, the Housing and Human Services, I believe it is, that helps manage or direct funding to different shelters. The CTA will contribute $1.6 million for shelter beds. I want to go around, we'll do the 2 minutes here, and sarcasm is welcome, okay? Cynicism is welcome. This is the democratic process that we're going through. So we're going to go to everybody, and I want you all to think about, no, I'm not giving you an article to look at so you can see what all the facts are, but it's simply, that's what it is. The CTA is going to give $1.6 million towards shelter beds. And you can say, hey man, that's cool, or that sucks, or well, whatever. I just want everyone to discuss that and analyze. Go for it.
Okay, a couple of things. But the CTA budget, where does that budget come from? Where does that money come from? Who determines what that money is spent on? It's the city. The money comes from the city and the state. The CTA board or whoever they are determines what gets spent on what. So I think this 1.6 million for shelter beds is a way for the CTA and the city to appeal to the liberal-minded people of Chicago that the Democrats are good guys. The CTA wants to help people. That's what I think. But I also think that the most important thing, though, is that there's enough money for everybody. People who don't have a bed, people who don't have shelter, they need it. They need it. They need it. We need better wages. We need paid sick leave. We need full-time jobs. And homeless people need beds. They need homes. So I think that, to me, that's the main thing about the 1.6. It's not enough. It's not enough. How about 1.6 billion? How about that?
Sarcasm. So will CTA employees that I learn more about homelessness through our second chance employees than I ever knew before, and that in my past I did include working with a church and helping homeless people. So it's hard to get people in the shelters. The people that I help that are 308 members, do they get preference in this shelter beds? Because just a month ago I was trying to help this kid get out of his car and into a shelter. Get him food, refer him to a food pantry, and get him food because he's out. He was homeless.
Whoa. Wait a minute. Stop the cameras. Wait, we got to keep... Did you hear that? We have homeless CTA workers?
And you know more about than I do, Eric. I know you do. Because I helped one person a month ago. I made different referrals. And I know you've gone through this as well. And that's what we do. We help each other out. But we're finding it in our own ranks. So you're taking a $1.6 million away from this kid who doesn't have benefits, who doesn't have vacation or sick time, and then you're giving it to the bed that he's going to sleep in? Is that what we're doing?
Oh, thank you, Nora Learson, for providing a shelter bed for our homeless CTA workers that you don't want to pay a living wage. Good job. Okay. Go ahead.
People making quotes. There's also a quote about the hypocrisy of the racist rulers in Catholic society. And the point, I think, it was described by Lenin as a thimbleful of sympathy in a sea of poverty and oppression. Look, labor, not just the ATU, but labor in general should lead the fight to take over all the empty downtown office spaces. Retrofit them for living of the homeless, okay? But in order to do that, obviously you go down to LaSalle Street, which is at least half empty. You go down there and say you're going to do this, and you'll get a fight. You'll get a fight legally, of course. You'll also get a martial fight from the goddamn cops. So labor has to have a perspective on how to make that so, and will not be by going to the mayor's office or to Springfield and begging. It'll be something that labor has to understand, that it has to wrench out of the grasp of the racist rulers. Okay? That's the only perspective. We have to have that perspective. The independent mobilization of the working class, along with the community, to take on the bosses. That's the perspective. And yeah, it is 1.6. I read that article too. It was almost as if it was a cynical joke. That it was made up. It was a cynical joke. Okay? It was disgusting. That a counter to that, labor has to have a different perspective to win for the working class and all the oppressed.
Thank you.
On my way here on 35th Street, I passed a just enormous Amazon fulfillment center, and I think about how just billions of dollars go through the city on a constant basis, and you've got ginormous corporations, Target, Starbucks, Amazon again, all the people in this room every year, we pay 30, 40, 50, 60% of our income on our taxes, and these corporations pay almost nothing. And I think that if we're going to house homeless people, I fully support that. I think it should come out of the pockets of the billionaire class that's extorting us for rents instead of regular people like working for the CTA.
Yeah, I like the idea of getting out of the lane when MLK spoke about northern racism, when he spoke about the Vietnam War, people said, you know, stay in your lane. The Chicago Teachers Union, they take on homelessness, they take on people who don't have enough to eat, and people say stay in your lane. So I think it's important as a writer that unions stick up for people. Now, coming out of a budget that's already stretched, that's another story. But the union should definitely demand that money is allocated. I don't believe in, there is no lane.
Alrighty. I have so many questions now. Mostly just why now? Because it feels like a pacification, kind of an appeasement to just kind of keep us quiet, because homelessness is not just a CTA problem, it's a citywide problem. And now that they're trying to allocate these resources for, oh, we're getting beds. So, okay, how is this going to be implemented? Where is this money coming from? What about all this money that you said were for beautification projects? Not cleaning, it's just, oh, we put stained glass here. That's amazing.
It painted the walls.
It's amazing.
The station.
It's beautiful. But now that we suddenly have this money, oh, this is going to make things better. How are you going to implement this? How are you going to get this information out and get things moving? Now it's just like, oh yeah, we have this money, we're going to put it here. Be happy.
Maybe you could get a shelter. You know what? I'm gonna let you have my shelter bed. Yeah, why not? Okay. 1.6 million. What do you have to say about that? What's your opinion, Brother Al?
I'll be very quick and to the point on this, because I think that Chicago Transit Authority should concentrate on Chicago Transit. And I'm saying that with authority.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We could just sum this whole meeting up in one sentence.
Right.
I just want to point out the fact that we used to have a solution to this problem. It was called public housing. And we used to have a whole agency that would deal with it. It was called the Chicago Housing Authority. What happened? Well, I'll tell you what happened. There was a man named Larry Hoover, and he had a few illicit businesses, but he also had some legitimate businesses, and he also employed hundreds and hundreds of people on the South Side. And he was in the process of trying to make his illegitimate businesses be legitimate. And at that time, on the South Side, all the aldermen were in Daley's pocket, all of them. So what he decided to do is he got some of his people together and he founded an organization called 21st Century Vote, which stood for Voices of Total Empowerment. And his idea, because his organization had a lot of people in a lot of CHA high-rises, so his idea was to take the people in his organization and get people registered to vote so that they could get aldermen in power that would hand out business licenses to people that were prepared to open up businesses and employ even more people in the community. What was Daley's reaction to that? He had a similar reaction to U.S. imperialism in Vietnam, which was to drain the swamp, which meant destroying public housing and moving people out of it. So for political reasons that did not serve the members of the community that he claimed it did, we eliminated public housing. Now we're dealing with the fallout from that still more than 30 years later. So we know what the solution is, but we refuse to allocate funds and we refuse to solve the problem.
I'm gonna make a comment. MAGA crowd, I'm assuming that they are mostly working class people and poor people who want to get ahead in life.
They're not. A lot of them are business owners. A lot of them are business owners.
Well, I'm just saying majority of them. I know some of them got a little something else going on. And I would like to make a comment that since Trump been in office, he made $3 billion around somewhere up in there. And I'm sure that these poor MAGA people hasn't came up to par. So to say that we're going to go back to homelessness in Chicago and probably all over the United States, the money is there to help people out. The CTA should be focused on CTA and focus on the homeless, at the CTA. So it should be a plan in place to have the homeless be taken off the CTA and put into a better spot. With the $1.6 million, is it taken away from one area of the CTA and going to the bed? because that's what it sounds like, a bed, you know. So maybe that needs to be revisited and making sure the CTA is 100% on point on being ran as a CTA, like the young man over there said. Thank you.
Yeah, I think
Welcome.
it's a good gesture.
Welcome. Oh, okay. Welcome.
Well, that guy left a while ago.
Yeah, sit down. Yeah, yeah. Would you? We're live streaming for on our Facebook page. Would you be able to introduce yourself, who you are, where you work, and
Or maybe you don't feel comfortable.
or not? You don't have to. Okay. All right. Well, why don't we just say you just an anonymous CTA worker here to participate? You might be on camera a little bit while we do this, but you know we can always just keep. If you do say anything, which we hope you do, we just say don't mention any manager names or work location or proprietary information. That's all, and then you're good, and you're off the clock, right? Good. So you're perfect. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Okay.
All right. So I agree with most of everybody said here. CTA should be focusing on Chicago transit, not damn shelter beds. When we got get fired, they don't want to get ridden up. We need to focus on that. Spend 1.6 million on that instead of shelter beds.
Man, all right, all right. Okay. So how are we on time on the clock?
We are good.
Okay.
12:57.
Okay.
So now we just dealt with 1.6 million. We offered some thoughts and opinions for shelter beds, and like I said,
Coming from the CTA.
Coming from the CTA budget for shelter beds, and it's a very. I can tell right now from what everyone's saying, it's almost seems like a cruel joke. The next topic that we would like to tackle is on Halloween, the Chicago Transit Authority and PACE and or everything under RTA, PACE,
Metra,
CTA, finally got funding. And everyone said public transit is saved. No layoffs, which is a lie. On that same day, many of our ATU members received a letter from the Chicago the Chicago Transit Authority, and they said, thank you for completing the Second Chance program. Prepare for your exit interview on such and such date. And when I brought that up and mentioned it in Streets Blog Chicago, the CTA lie department said that, oh, that's a contractual issue in the contract, cited by the members. Yeah, that's another story. So the question for everyone on the panel, is public transit saved? We're going to have a new bureaucracy now. It's going to be called Northern Illinois Transit Authority, I think. And it's going to replace the RTA, another bureaucracy. Everyone's excited.
More board members.
So what do y'all think? Is public transit saved? That's the question. Is public transit saved? And anyone who's online, you can put it in the comments and we'll share your comment too. Is public transit saved?
No, public transit is not saved. But to be honest, I have not read that bill. But to look at reality, every time the politicians pass some law about the CTA, it gets worse. The politicians passed the law to create the part-time workers. The politicians passed the law that allowed the CTA to contribute less to the pension. The politicians passed the law for the Retiree Health Care Trust, which is an attack on the health care of the workers. The politicians passed the law to dismantle public housing in Chicago. The politicians passed the law to not fund the schools. All the attacks that the working class faces in Chicago, all over the United States, and all over the world, really, stems from the system we live under, capitalism, and the people who serve the interests of the millionaires and the billionaires, and it's the politicians. So, no, they have not said the CPA, and they won't, but they'll tell you that they will, just like Trump says, oh, it's the best economy ever, or affordability is a hoax. Yeah, yes it is.
Yeah, by no means it's insane. They just kick the can down the road again. They're not handling any of the safety issues, and that's what needs to happen. And once again, with groups like this, with riders' voices and workers' voices, it's the only way that they will accomplish that.
Yeah, you brought up the thing about the second chance people, and their constant, when this was introduced about over 15 years ago, about 15 years or so, and it was something that was used as a tactic to divide the workforce. And I remember arguing in both 241 and 308 against the union accepting that policy. There was actually a vote, and that people voted against against the second chance program. But the union leadership just kind of rolled over on that, and again, as it often does, because it's beholden to the bosses, not the union members, that it became kind of hardened. Now that's called tier workers. Okay, it first came in the American labor movement in the longshore industry. Then it was introduced into the auto industry, and then it was also introduced in the trans industry. The whole thing about tiers, and that the union leaderships in all these different industries accepted it was a crime, because it violates a very fundamental principle of the labor movement: equal pay for equal work. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay?
Preach. That's it.
And that was something that one of the many principles of the labor movement that was one of the things that I remember. Since I'm retired, I got around. So during the auto workers strike a few years ago, I remember talking to auto workers in Indiana and Ohio and Michigan and the South Side of Chicago about that the union that strike should be focused on three things: no tiers. In other words, equal pay for equal work. Make the bosses pay for this. Okay. That two, make the bosses pay to rebuild Detroit and all the other places they did. And third was for black liberation, because that is directly tied to the advancement of the working class in general.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, so
Is public transit saved?
I followed this very closely last summer and into the fall, and I was honestly shocked that they even got the funding, because it was like at 4 a.m. when I heard the news. Yeah, so there's a couple of things in there that will help streamline certain processes. Certainly, public transportation across the United States and in Chicago is chronically underfunded. Even in the places where it's the best, even in New York City, it's chronically underfunded. And it needs more funding. But at the same time, those good things that are going to come out of this, none of them are on this page, right? It's not this stuff. It's not the stuff that really, needs to happen to reform these agencies or turn them into democratically run places. To make sure that there's not homeless CPA employees. It's a lot of bureaucratic stuff, and it keeps it in the situation where these decisions about how this agency is run has very little to do with riders, and has very little to do with people who run the trains and the buses and who fix the trains and the buses. It's just a bunch of managers and a bunch of politicians who don't ride the buses and don't ride the trains and couldn't really care less about whether they exist or not. And I think that it needs to be more transformative. Whatever happens in the future.
Yeah, it's a shame we even have to ask this question, because let's face it, you cannot run the city without public transportation, especially without buses. And any, prospective employer who wants to open up shop in Chicago, I mean, if you can't get your workers to work, again, it's a shame you even have to ask this question. You can't run the city without a big system.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the notion of save. Save from what? It just feels like save from accountability, whereas things are just getting passed along, because at the end of the day, public transit, as much as it helps the public, is not for the public. It's for the people running it. Like, there is no restructuring. There's nothing that genuinely helps us out at the end of the day, because we just see it going down, down, down. While the people up top, they're benefiting from it. So save from their own accountability.
I kind of disagree with the question.
Yeah.
So I don't think
That's okay.
before us. I think it's a little bit of a fool's errand to focus on CTA. It's a public agency. The bigger problem is that the resources of the working class create hard going to public transportation. So even if they were if you were running it or I was running it, we wouldn't have the resources to pay people well, provide the services and everything. And so it needs to be, everybody knows about the thing in New York, free public transit. I think that's a great idea. I think we have to look at a much bigger picture of not just attacking the CTA for serving the city, because in the long run they don't have it. No matter what they did, the resources aren't there to put conductors, whatever you are. The resources aren't there to pay those second chance people, a decent wage, to fund the pension and all that. You need to take the money from the corporations. And then you could talk about a CTA board that did include real representation or participation of the workers as well as the riders, the community, and restructure the whole thing. But it's got to start with the resources.
Thank you.
Since the funding situation, exactly what has been, that's what I'm not clear on. And that's not a question that is looking for a direct answer, but what is it to say that it's safe or not?
Do we have any takers with a response?
I can only speak from the shop, like
Good.
yourself, is that people were just relieved because they were holding this over their head for over a year, especially our least senior people were afraid they were going to lose their job, and the management ran with it. They really ran with it, like they do. Any tool they can use to divide us, scare us, and mess with us, they used, and that went away. That's the only thing that I see as a difference.
Yeah,
Other than that,
yeah.
no change.
Yeah. And then I'll say real quick about that
directly is that what Chris was saying. I was telling members, be prepared, because I was getting information from the inside that the CTA was already setting up things. They were just drooling like hungry, and that's what it was. That's it. That's all it is. Hey, no layoffs. Everything's good, right? Yeah. And then the mismanagement continues. And I just wanted to address, though, real quick, there is the money. The money does exist. But they spend it on the contractors whose relatives and lobbyists get money for. They got tons of money. They spend $14,000 on pizza in 2024. They spent $30 million on a video surveillance system on trains that already have it. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. It's not for us. But that's another issue, but I think it's great. And I don't disagree with you. I'm not disagreeing at all with what you're saying. I just wanted to add, though, they do have the money. They're just cheap. Okay, next. The CTA saved. Or if you disagree with the question, the premise, you can do that too.
Okay, well, I think everybody had excellent comments, so I'm just going to say, I don't think that it's really saved. I think we need to wake up, follow the money, and hold the politicians accountable. And because I'm retired, and a lot of that money is still my tax dollars, because just because I'm retired doesn't mean I don't pay taxes. Thank you.
I just want to hit the rewind button back to the Second Chance program for 2 seconds. What that is at least in terms of what it was at CTA, was a loaded gun pointed at the heads of other 241 workers. So, not to say that I don't think that people deserve second chances, but that's not what this program was about. It was to create a low-wage labor force that would have the same exact skill set as bus operators did. You know what I mean? And that was to prepare for a scenario where the rail side would go on strike. You know what I mean? So they already had a ready-made low-wage force. They had the qualifications to take the place of bus operators who were getting paid what's right. You know what I mean? And when this started over at CTA, one of the things that I did, I was real naive about this. I thought that there was someone who was running for president at 308 talking about strike preparedness, and I thought that actually meant strike preparedness rather than just trying to get votes, bullshit people, right? So what I did was I immediately started this petition to local 241 leadership, which was the dictator Keith Hill, and this petition said that I wanted to guarantee for them that if 308 goes out, 241 goes out, and connected that to Second Chance. So that's another thing.
Yes, sir.
Is the transit system saved because it was put into law? Eric, scan the camera up at that picture up there. Okay, come back to me now. I would like to say, when it comes down to law being passed, when you want to hurt workers and poor people, you put it into law. And I don't want to go back and say a whole bunch of laws, but Jim Crow is a good example of law. The AC Trust is a good example of law. So, no, transit system wasn't saved because it was put into law. So everybody needs to think about that.
I would like to say that no, transit system in Chicago is not saved. They did some things that I like. I do like the NITA. I do like that. It starts the conversation about reform, which I think should have happened years ago. Got rid of Dorval Carter. That's a good start.
Mr. 33%.
Everybody that looked like you is not for you. And we have presidents, union presidents that look like us, but stab us in the back and give us bullshit contract year after year after year.
Yep.
So, no transit is not saved. They got some money for a couple years to keep them going, but they're not saved. But I think NITA is a good start to stop some of the corruption that's going on at the CTA. and it will coordinate, which it should have happened a long time ago. It will coordinate the three agencies together. Their schedules will coordinate together. There's no way that you should get off a Metro train and have to wait 45 minutes for a Pace bus, or get off a Metro train and have to wait 30 minutes for a CTA bus. All agencies should collaborate together. It should be one fare system for all three agencies, and that's what NITA is doing, and that's what they're starting. So I think that's a good start, that they'll have one fare system for all three agencies, and that the schedules will collaborate and align with each other. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take one more scan here. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Our billionaire employer CTA treats its employees like poop.
Poop.
Okay, so we're gonna be wrapping this up now. Okay, cool. And I wanted to add, is the CTA saved? Sure. But the riders and the employees aren't. And I was always putting out there, they were saying, fund the CTA, fund the CTA. You know, we have the union presidents, these boss agents saying, we must save the CTA. March, save the CTA. And I said, hell no, we got to defund the CTA mismanagement and fund the workers. All right, so 2 minutes each. You could say whatever you want. Just please. Be careful with the profanity. And watch out just so that no one gets any lawsuits for slanders. Don't mention any specific names. All right? Especially of the management. I think the politicians are fair game. And of course, we said Nora Learson. The acting president. Nora Learson. Let's get the title right. God bless you, Nora, though. Me and Chris were talking about Nora Learson and saying, we may have she seems to be someone that we could work with, maybe, that we could try to talk with and get something going, maybe. But anyways, 2 minutes. We're going to go around, say whatever you want. It could be about the CTA. I would like it to be, public transit oriented. But if you want to, go off and talk about some politician, or you want to talk about the lotto or something, that's fine. This is a democracy in action, so we're not going to censor you. 2 minutes, and then we'll wrap it up. And by the way, we wanted the Chicago Transit Justice Coalition. We want to thank the Unity Center for this wonderful, beautiful location of a library. We love books. We love to read. Nobody reads more than us. But anyway, please, before you leave, we have Brother Tom over there with the Marines hat, or something hat.
Maple Leafs.
Sorry, the Maple Leafs. All right, you can't read, Mr. Moderator. Yeah, the Maple Leafs hat. And please offer a donation to the Unity Center for housing us and being a guest, because the Unity Center has not charged a dime for this meeting. So please offer something, anything, $1 or $100 or $1,000. It will be graciously accepted, and probably that $1,000 will go right to the heat bill. But anyways, if not the property taxes. 2 minutes, we go around, we say goodbye. Until next time.
Well, this was a really good meeting. I'm glad everybody came. I'm glad everything. And what the young man said before about public transportation, it benefits the ruling class. It benefits the bankers who have given loans to businesses. The businesses need people to come and go and spend their money. The businesses need workers to come and go on their jobs. And so I think that's something we could possibly stress more, so people get a bigger understanding about that. And the other thing I wanted to say was the contract. So has the CTA been saying, when the contract rolls around, you're gonna need to be paid. So, we gotta, I think, get more people to read the contract, discuss the contract, and I think it's gonna be the worst contract ever, which isn't a good thing, but it's gonna be real interesting.
I think I'll just stay on that we've covered so much stuff on the safety thing, and it's just not gonna be handed to us with the current management structure. They are like anti-safety, basically. You gotta get, if they treat their workers, to the riders, if they treat their workers as if they're the problem every time somebody's injured on the job, how much do they care about the riders? The riders, they just keep adding lawyers. Every time I look at who they're hiring, because I look at it especially for the second chances, they're hiring another goddamn lawyer every freaking week. They're not hiring for my position. We're understaffed, but they're hiring 2 lawyers right now.
2-man crew in the law department. Yeah. On each case.
Yeah, I think what has happened, we've seen a lot of protests over the last several years. Obviously the latest stuff around ICE assaults. And before that, we had extremely large movement, the BLM movement. But one of the outstanding weakness of those struggles is that the working class was sidelined. The organized working class was sidelined. It did not engage in those struggles. And I think what actually has to what militants in the unions, left organizations, we need to start discussing strategy to actually intersect the working class, make these issues a working class issue, because the working class, the organized working class, is the only force that can change this. No amount of buses to Springfield or whatever the hell they want you to do will change anything. Only the mobilizing of the working class in its own defense, in defense of all the oppressed, will be successful. And that's really what I know for a fact that the left in this country has to do. It has to basically leave those goddamn Democrats alone and go to the working class with a revolutionary program. And let's talk about a revolutionary program for the working class.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think that it's really important for working class people in this country to come together. I think class struggle needs to be at the center of our movement. But also at the same time, a couple months ago, I saw I was just scrolling through Instagram and I saw my state senator, Mike Simmons, posting about how he got like an endorsement from, I believe, Local 308, which I think is, and I saw that and I was like, hey, isn't that the one Ericsburg that's like doing all the horrible? And so I called them and I said, CTA workers do not have paid sick leave, and they didn't know. Like, they just didn't know. Like, they've never, and I'm not saying that, like, if you call this guy, it's gonna, like, immediately fix all the problems. Obviously not. There's more that needs to be done. But
thank you.
Obviously there's like Chicago, a lot of corrupt politicians and politics in the whole country broken, but there's, you have to use every tool at your disposal, and I think like it's really important that along with organizing CTA employees and getting working class people mobilized and everything, we exhaust every possible option, including working with what few sympathetic politicians face the electric system.
Thank you.
Yeah, I used to work in Schaumburg, and I worked with people who used the Red Line, and they had to take a bus to the Red Line. They lived past 95th Street. These people had a long commute. And since the 80s, I've been hearing about expanding the Red Line, so that's something I hope people do. I mean, a lot of young people are working in the suburbs, and we're all familiar with the term food desert, and I recently heard somebody say there's transportation deserts. In a big city like Chicago, that shouldn't be. But Yeah, we gotta get the stuff off the drawing board.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I constantly complain about CTAs to my friends and whatnot. And I'll go back to the historical perspective that we literally waged wars to establish train lines in this country. We were at the top of our game at one point, and now just nothing's being done. Say bullet trains, that would be amazing, but we can't have that because automobiles. This city is inundated with cars everywhere. If you don't have a car, then you can't do anything. But if you do have a car, you're stuck in traffic. And then it's like, oh, go through CTA. Oh, no, it's terrible. So buy a car to solve your problem. So it just goes back and forth because either way, it's kind of fueling the incentive for people to just pay more and more into these things, expecting better, but getting nothing out of it. So, I don't know.
Yeah, following up on that, I think we have to take a more expansive look at this struggle. If we want to get the support of the public, we have a shitty public transit system. It's inadequate. It's ridiculous. This is supposed to be a world-class city. Maybe you can get from any neighborhood to downtown, but to get from one neighborhood to the other, forget it. Like you said, people are forced to have cars. It's terrible for the environment. It's expensive. It's great for the oil industry, but I think we need a campaign for a real dynamic, workable public transit system where every 3 minutes a bus comes. The bus pulls away, the next bus comes up. The same thing with the trains. It's not, you don't have to be looking at the schedule because the next ones are coming. Every person who's in a car could be in a train, and it would save so much money. It would be so much more pleasant. The whole thing is just inadequate for the needs of civilization. And cities all over the world have that. We're backward. So I think that we need to make a fight. And that's why there's not enough money. Not to have, and you're not going to have public support for transit workers, robust public support, till we have a system that they like, and want to keep going. As long as people are mad because the bus, they had to wait 20 minutes for the bus, they're going to take it out on the transit workers. So we need a joint fight to have well-paid, well-compensated, sick pay, whatever, for transit workers, and that are maintaining a wonderful system where you look forward to taking the bus.
Yeah.
Gotta take it out on someone.
Donation.
Oh, thank you.
Take your hat off. He gave you the opening.
Yeah, that's the hat. Yeah.
Hey, I would
Did
just
you?
like-
Did you? No. Okay. No problem.
I'd just like to say, thank you for the invite, and it's been great information, and it's a real good, strong vibration, which is needed. And Cook County will we'll see some positive changes, and I'm going to do the best that I can to keep everybody, all of the active people and the retirees, anybody that retired after 2007, keep them updated through Brother Eric, the Union Steward, and because we need to follow the judge's ruling and file our own lawsuit. So I'll keep you updated.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Since I haven't been at CTA since 2021, I don't have any really good summation for anything. I really appreciate everybody's input. I especially appreciate the Unity Center, the CPUSA, and People's World for hosting this. It's very generous of them. And I know I'm a guest in this house, but I also wanted to drop a plug real quick. I'm a member of Freedom World Socialist Organization. You can find us at frso.org or fightbacknews.org. And our strategy for revolution is the strategic lines between the multinational working class and the multi-class national liberation movements. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Everybody who's looking at the live stream, everybody who's here, the riders and the workers, transit is still a problem, even though it's saved through the politicians in their mind. We must continue to come together to address all the problems in transit, and that must come from the workers and the riders and everybody that's watching. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you, Unity Center. Thank you, Eric and Chicago Transit Justice Coalition for having this event. This is great. We are doing the work that the union should be doing. The Justice Coalition is. And they like to call us the other union all the time. And they like to accuse us of dual unionism. But we want the best for the workers. We want the best for the union workers. We want the CTA workers. We want the PACE workers. We want the Metro workers to feel safe coming to work and feel safe from management and feel like the company has their back. So we're working towards that. Thank you.
All right. All right, so that's it. We thank everybody for attending from all the different worlds and communities and organizations. And I just wanted to say that CTA service sucks because the CTA workers are treated like crap. So when we turn that around, you're going to have CTA workers that are treated great. What are you going to have?
Great service.
There you go, CTA. So there you go, acting president, Nora Learson. That's how you can be, how you don't have to act no more. You can be real president. Thank you, everybody.
All right.